able to hear the conference call or anything like that, please feel free to call Jason. Jason is monitoring the chat and is monitoring the quality of the audio. So his phone number is 773-380-5014. If you need to email him, would be to jking@igainc.com. That is your backup, 773-380-5014, and email jking@igainc.com. With that, we can get started with our presentation. I'm going to be recording our presentation today, and so you will be able to use it as a reference at a later time. So recording is started, and once again, welcome to the student course. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to go through a few slides in a PowerPoint, and I will be giving you the basics of what's new. Then we're going to go live on the platform. If you have access to a printer right now, you can go to our LMS transition site, which is 2015lms.com. So that is 2015lms.com. And in here, when you get to the webinars menu, if you click on that on the top right, you will be able to see the webinars here. And today's webinar is listed there. And the PowerPoint, the complete PowerPoint with the instructions is there. This is the initial draft, but it will contain all the information that we're going to be covering today. So if you want to go ahead and print it, download it, and then you will be able to make your notes. So let's get started now with our PowerPoint presentation. And in here, the first thing that I want to point out are the important dates. As of today, you are not able to register new students into the platforms because we already cut the data for the student accounts, and that is in the process of being integrated into the new system. The next important date is February 20th, when we are going to be cutting off the system to transfer all the history of the students into the new platform. That means that from the day of February 21st till March 1st, there will be no online training service available. You will all be able to come back with your same username and passwords on March 2nd. And big, important to be aware that now all the username and passwords are going to be in caps, in the uppercase, I mean. With the caps lock on. So with that information, let's move forward and get started with what's new for this new platform. And what I did here was just list what are the general features and what are the features that relate to the courses that you're gonna that you need to know before you start using the system. In terms of general features, that's the #1 reason why we transferred to this new platform, and it's because it's a mobile-ready system. So you will be able to use tablets and some smartphones. So make sure that you type everything in caps when you log in into the new system. In this system, instead of you being able to call us and ask for the password, if somebody forgets the password, what the system does is ask for their username, and will ask the student to reset passwords. So if you forget it, then you have to reset it. There is a new feature to search the catalog. So now if you're looking for the cashier course, you don't have to go through the whole list. or know in which library it sits, you're going to be able to type the name, the word cashier, and the course will be found for you, and it's style displayed so you can access it. Interesting feature, especially for those of you who are going to use the administrator feature, is that there are scroll bars in some of the pages, and those are basically a black line. So I'll show you some examples of it, but it's not the most intuitive. So whenever you see a long vertical black line on the right side of a screen or a window, remember that that is a scroll bar, and there might be some additional information below. The system is totally multi-language. That means that you can change the interface of the whole system to any language that it's available. I believe there are like about 30 languages. That changing of interface language doesn't mean that you're changing the course language. If a course is in Spanish, will forever be in Spanish. If a course is in English, will forever be in English. But the whole interface of where to click, of running your reports, of looking at your history, all that information can be translated into any language that you decide. And now we have an expanded profile for the users. If you remember, to register a student, all you needed was the passcode, the store code, the first name, last name, email, and the login, and you were able to register a student and get them into the system. In here, the student account becomes much more prominent, and it's a place where you track the student user location and the store and the language, and all those things are in these user profiles. So you can track a lot more information about your users within this new system. In terms of the courses, what you're going to have is the libraries that we have in the current system are going to be called categories, and you're going to be able to see each one of those categories individually. So you can filter per category. There is a new feature, which is a course landing page. In the old system, when you click into a course, you would go straight into the course to take it. In here, when you subscribe to a course, you're going to go into a landing page that has additional information for you, and it gives you more details about the course that you're going to be taking. There is also a new course layout. It's simplified, less crowded, easier to use in tablets and smartphones. New feature or new way of working, the bookmark. The bookmark now, it will allow it, as soon as you close the course, the bookmark happens automatically. So you don't have to go to a specific place to bookmark the page of a course. Once you close the course, the system automatically remembers that that was the last place you went, and when you go back to the course, it will ask you, do you want to start at the beginning or you want to resume where you left? So it's an automatic feature now. There's also the ability to unenroll from a course or unsubscribe from a course straight from the course. So you can go in, look at a course, and you don't have to go out in order to unenroll. You can unenroll directly in the landing page of the course. Important new feature is a time tracking. So every time you go into a course, the system will be timing the number of sessions that you're in the course and how long you're in it. The system will track and will time out after 10 minutes of inactivity. So if you are in a course and you haven't moved the mouse, you're not watching a video, you're not doing anything, after 10 minutes the system will say, okay, you're not doing anything, and it will stop tracking the time. However, if you're watching a video, the system understands that there's somebody using the system, so it will track that time. So now you can tell how much time students spend in a particular course. And the timeout, of course, is after 10 minutes. So let's go and look at how you will log in and get on with the course. So I'm going to escape this PowerPoint, and I'm going to go straight into our website. And I'm going to be using the Retail Learning Institute as a sample. And when you go in here, you can go to IGAinstitute.com, you can go to cfigtraining.com or kaidotraining.org. Any of those sites that you, or NGA, for the NGA would be grocerytraining.org. Regardless of the website that you are using to get into the online training system, all of them will have a new button added, and it's the new online training log on. And obviously this will only work if you already have an account in the new system. And when you go in, this is the Retail Learning Institute login page, and in here you will type your username and your password, and you will sign in, and it will get you into the system. But there are two things that I need to point out in this screen. Obviously is the lost password feature. In here, when I click lost password, I enter my password, and then it will give me a confirmation, and it will send the email to my account to give me a link so I can reset my password. So it confirms here, I go to my inbox, and I'll have an email there with a link to reset my password. Also, on the top of the page, on the right side, you have the English button, and if you click on that, you're going to have the drop-down menu with all the languages. And like I said, changing a language means that you're changing the interface, you're not changing the course language. So I'm going to leave it in English, and I'm going to click sign in. And there are a couple of pages where you can land from the sign in. In this case, this particular student has a learning plan, and learning plans are a special feature that we have in the new system. We're going to have a webinar explaining learning plans later on, but if you're a student and you're assigned a learning plan, when you log in, you're going to go by default to the learning plan. If you don't have a learning plan, then you will end up in My Courses page. And this is basically your home page. And My Courses page has a list of all the courses that you're working on. It could be because there are part of a learning plan, or are courses that have been assigned to you, or are courses that you're currently working on. So the courses are listed here in alphabetical order, and this is everything that this student is working on. If I want to see the courses that have been completed, I can click on this circle next to completed courses on the top, and it will illustrate which course has been completed. And notice that all completed courses have a green border with a check mark indicating that this course has been done. So if I do all the courses, it's going to show me the completed plus the non-completed, or the non-started, or the ones that I already started. So that is My Courses page. Students also have access to a course catalog. And in that course catalog, you're going to have different catalogs that have been assigned to your organization. Most organizations will get at least the English and the Spanish catalog, and you can see it down here. This student, because he's a U.S. student, also gets the U.S. catalog. You can see, if we're going back to the top to the English catalog, that it shows 3 tiles for that catalog, and then a view more. That means there are more courses. I click on that, and then it opens the whole catalog, and I can see everything that is on my English catalog at the moment. If you notice, to the left side, there are categories, and these categories are basically the same thing as the libraries that we used to have in the old system. So you can look at the first item in this categories list, and it says, well, All categories are 78 courses. So we have now 78 courses available in English in the new system. If I want to go to any specific library, for example, I want to see only the management courses, I click on management that has 4 courses, and it will display only the courses in that particular category. This will make it much easier for you to find courses. But if you are not sure in which category a course sits, then you can come in here and do a search. But when you're doing a search, if you want to look at the whole catalog, make sure that you're selecting the all categories. Because if I type a name now, because my active category is management, it's only going to look within the management category. So if I wanted to look in the whole English catalog, then I have to choose all categories, and now I can do a search for cashier, for example. And when I click that, it finds the cashier course for me. So that is the easiest way of finding a course. You can't ignore this area here. This is going to be removed. We're not buying courses. We're not selling courses. All the courses are free. That area will be removed from there. I also want to point out the English catalog box, and if I do open that drop down, then I can choose to view a particular catalog, or I can see all the catalogs the way it defaults. So that's another way of filtering. So you can filter by the language or the type of catalog, and then go filter by the categories, and that will make it easier for you to get a sense of the courses that are available. So that's what we have in the courses catalog. There are other options here in the menu, and the next one is the learning plan. And this learning plan is the same thing that popped up when I logged in. And let's look a little carefully on what we have available with the learning plan. In a learning plan, you can see that you can filter here on the top. I want to see all the learning plans that have been assigned to me. I want to see only the ones that are in progress. I want to see only the ones that are completed. That is one way of seeing it. If I look into the first learning plan, which is Leadership Journey, I can choose to be all the courses, all the learning plans collapsed or expanded. This is the expanded view where you can see all the courses within it, but if I, on the top center of the screen, I click expand all or collapse all in this case, then I can see my learning plans one after another without having to look at each course inside of it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to expand it all again. And what you have here, obviously besides the name of the learning plan, you also have the list of the courses that are available in that learning plan. So you will get a certificate for each one of the courses that you complete, and then when you complete the whole learning plan, you're going to get a certificate for that. The courses are listed in the order that you should be taking them. But in this case, you can go to any of those courses at any time. The first column that you have there is the play button in yellow. That means that those courses have been assigned to you. When you complete them, that is going to change into green. If you haven't started it, in this case, that's the status that you're going to get, the yellow one. So that's about the learning plans. And now that we're talking on courses, let's continue with that topic. So I'm going to go into the course catalog, back into it, and I'm going to go look for the Courtesy Clerk course, for example. So I type Courtesy, and oops, there was a period there. It shouldn't have been there. And I got my Courtesy Clerk course. And notice that every time I roll over a tile, it gives me the play button which is what I'm going to use to get into this course. It tells me that I'm a learner for this course versus being an instructor. It tells me that there are three items within this course. Those are 3 learning objects. The course estimated duration is 2 hours. The course is in English, and it is an e-learning course. So it gives me a little profile of this course. I click the play button in gray, and that takes me to the new landing page for this course. I'm going to make this a little smaller so you can get more into the view. At the top of the screen, you're always going to have a path. And that path tells you that we are in my courses, that we are in the Courtesy Clerk course. In here, remember that I told you that now you can unenroll from a course. So I can click the unenroll button that is on the top left, top right, I'm sorry, and I can confirm my cancellation of this course. I'm going to be unenrolling. But at this time, I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to click cancel here and go down the list so you can see the different features that you have in the landing page. This banner allows you to go straight into the course, but when you're looking at this banner, always you have to pay attention that when you click the play button, it's going to take you to the place that it's on that blue box on the side. So it's telling me if I play this, I'm going to go into the Courtesy Clerk content piece. So that is the default, taking me to the first learning object in this course. So let's look at the learning objects. If you look at this gray bar at the bottom, you'll see that the one is Courtesy Clerk, that is in yellow, meaning that I've been in this course. I haven't completed the course content. So the learning object that has the name of the course is the actual course content piece, followed by other learning objects that can be tests, that can be downloadable files, or other items. But usually it's the course content and the tests. The test, first one is telling me that it's in red. It means that I took the test, I failed. The test part 2, it's in gray. That means that I haven't started to take that course. And like I said before, if I complete any of those pieces, then it will be labeled in green. If I scroll further down on the landing page, I have 2 pieces of information, 2 groups of information. First is the course information that tells me the date when I subscribed to the course, and that it's here, and the last time I accessed the course. So I'll get a sense of how long it's taking me to complete this particular course. The second grouping here, it is for the certificate, and it tells me, yes, there is a certification after I finish this course. When I pass all the tests for this course, this will become a link for me to download my certificate. And then the third piece of information that I have here in my course information is my activities and the time that I have spent in this course. So I spent about an hour and a half, an hour and 20 minutes working on this particular course. It could be either on the course content studying, or it could be on the testing. All that time that I've spent inside one of the learning objects is what's being tracked. And then the last item is that graph of a circle that it's in green and it has a 0%. It's telling me that I haven't completed any part of this course. That's why it's 0%. So the way this number works is that it's the 100% is distributed between the learning objects. So in this case, I have 3 learning objects. So when I complete the course, then I'm going to be completed 33%. When I complete the first test, I'll be completed 66%. And when I pass the second test, I will be completed 100%. So that percentage is just proportional to how many elements are in my course, how many learning objects are in my course. And then at the bottom, I have here again my course description and the duration of the course. So that is the landing page for the course. There is one more thing that you should be aware of, and it's on the sidebar right underneath the menu. Now I have a little play button with that 0 to 3. And when I roll over it, it tells me, it gives me a list format of the learning objects that are in this course. So if a learning course has 5 or 6 learning objects, this would be the best way to get a sense of how many are there for me. Because here you will only be able to see a maximum of 3, and then on the right side of the bar you will have an arrow indicating that there's more learning objects afterwards. But if you want to get a good sense, this would be the best place to see the whole list of learning objects, and you can launch any learning objects straight from here too. So I'm going to click play now to launch the course, and then we can see in there that the course has a lot of new features. In here, this is a course that I was already started, so remember that I told you that the bookmark is automatic? It's asking me whether I want to resume or where I left off, or if I want to start the course from scratch. So I'm going to say, no, I want to go to the beginning of the course so I can show you how the courses are laid out. It is a new feature here. I'm going to lower the volume here. You can see that it's a much cleaner image. We still have our table of contents that is sitting here on the top left. So if I click on my table of contents, I have a look at all the items that are in my course. I can click on any of them the same way I used to do in the old system and go straight to that particular page. So that functionality remains, is just now hidden. And then at the other end of the top of the screen, I have a transcript link, and that transcript is basically a list of all the narrations that are in the course. So I can go to any particular narration if I need to read that and get into that particular narration. So that is my transcript. And let's go back to the course. And if you remember, we always had the My Tips at the bottom of the screen. In here, we just moved it to the top. And I click My Tips. And I go back to the survey that will allow me to provide my feedback and my contact information so I can be registered to earn those $50 gift cards. So that is My Tips. The closing of the screen is in an outer frame. It's not within the course, main course, so you can click on Close on the top left, and that will bookmark also your session. And then on the bottom of the screen, what you have is the volume control here, is the first button. Then you have a play bar with a progress bar, and that is for the narration. So when I click play here, it's going to be playing, but it's going to be playing, that progress bar is referring to the audio itself. Okay? And I can restart that audio using the little circle icon at the end of the progress bar, or I can use my next button to go to the next page. So now, before I get straight into the course, I do have a navigation tour that will explain to the student all the features of this new course layout. So they can, the first time they go into a course, they can use that as their navigation piece to understand how the system works. And then I can, once I'm familiar with the layout, I can begin my course. There is a new feature here. Now, because the course is just one piece instead of being broken up, we have the parts, but now the content is just a separate learning object. So when I get to the end of a part, what I have to do is click I'm in section 3.6, which is the last topic of part 1, and when I click next, it takes me to this part 1 completion page, and it tells me, well, you have completed part 1, it's time for you to go back and take the test for part 1. Or if you want, you can continue, either way. But it reminds me that I finished this part and then I should go back to the test, because now the tests are outside the content learning object. So I'm going to close that. And when I go back to my landing page, I can go straight into my test. And I can click on test part 1. And what it's going to do is it's going to give me a description of that particular test. It tells me that I didn't pass this test before, so that's my result. It was 38%. It tells me that I had 16 questions in this test, that I need 80%, and some additional instructions about taking the test. So when I do restart the test, it's going to create a new test for me, and it's going to be all in one page in here. And I'm going to come in, and it tells me if it's a single choice, if there are multiple choices to answer that question. For example, in question number 4, it tells multiple choice. But that multiple choice means that there are 3 right answers for that particular test. If it says single choice, it means that it's only one correct answer to that question. So I go to the bottom of the test, and it tells me it's page 1 of 1, and it tells me, do you want to submit? Are you good to submit your completed test? And I click submit, and then it gives me a review of my testing. It tells me I score now 6%, and my passing mark is 80%, so obviously I did not pass. So I can either go back to the course, or this is a new feature, show me the answers. So if I want to review the answers to my questions, it will tell me here what I answered and whether it was correct or not. So in here, the second one, I answered true and it was correct, what the luck of it is. And that score represents 6.25% of my grade. And it was the only question that I got right. And if you see, for every question, I do get the right answer listed below. Instead of the tutorial, this is what this system provides us. So you will be able to review your questions. But remember, every test is different, because every time you submit to get a new test, the system will generate, will pick the questions randomly. So this is a good review for them to figure out the areas that they're not doing very well. So they have this page you can't print, so they will not be able to print this and then pass it along either. But they will be able to review their questions and their answers. And here, that's my results for all the questions that I have. So it becomes pretty lengthy. And then when I'm done reviewing my test, I can click back right underneath the logo, and it will take me back to my landing page. So that is how you operate a course. There are now a different set of information in my activities. This system has a lot of tracking for the student activities, and that is located. I'm going to go back to my courses using the menu, and I click my courses, and once I get into the menu, you can see that at the bottom here, the last item I have is my activities, followed obviously by my name. In this case, this is a generic account, so it's called Student RLI. So in there, you will have your personal name. It's important to remember that every single individual that has an account in the last system that has been having at least one completion within the last 3 years will be transferred into the new system, and they will all be transferred as students. We no longer will have available a person that has an account and that account has administrator access. What we'll do is that everybody will be a student and every store will have a generic administrator account that will be available for multiple people to share in. Tomorrow when we do the administrator webinar, we're going to talk in more detail about that, but I just wanted you to be aware that everybody now is going to have a student account. So every single individual will have an account that looks just like this. So going back into my activities, when I click that, the first thing that I'm going to get is my statistics. And that statistics is basically a summary of my activities and my history as a student. The first area here, it is giving me my name, the type of level that I have, that it's user, my email, and any groups that I might belong to. Next to it, I have the subscription date, which is when this account was created, the last date when I access it, the total time that I have spent in training in this account, and the number of active courses that that account has. So the student has spent 2 hours, 2 minutes working on training. It has been enrolled in 16 courses. And to see the progress here, you can see that it is, that person has 12 courses that need to get started. It's working in 3 particular courses, and it has 1 course completed. I'm going to open my Google Chrome because I'm not able to see my graphs for this account. So if you bear with me a second, I will try to access it from here. And show you the graphs that are in that page. I believe I need to update my Internet Explorer browser, and that's why these graphs were not displaying. So here you can see that that I have 12% of the courses that I have began, 3 that are in progress, and 1 that is completed. And then this graph chart next to it, it identifies the number of sessions that I have had in this account. And if I click on any of the nodes, for example, in August, I didn't do anything. But now when it comes January, I had 5 sessions. In February, I've had 14 sessions with this particular account. So it tells you how active, how much that person is going in and out of the learning management system. If I scroll down, then I have a summary of the courses. What are the courses that I have viewed the most? Courtesy Clerk, I spent 1 hour 38 minutes. Apples, I spent 13 minutes, and I completed that one. And then Business Ethics, I spent 4 minutes, and it's still in progress. And then I have, again, my chart performance, and that's for my testing. So I've taken 2 tests. And then this average here, this average is here next to my performance graph. The first one is my highest test score, 6 out of 100. The lowest is 0. And the average test score, it's 1.9. So I'm not doing very well in my testing. So a student can get a snapshot with the statistics page of their training activities. There's also additional information in my activities, and the next one is additional information. So remember that I told you that now we're going to be capturing additional information on the student profiles, and when I click additional info, it's going to display that information. I just want to point out that there's a birth date requirement here, this field. It is required for people who are taking the Montana certifications because they require by law, by the state, to include the student or the user's birth date. In your case, if this does not apply to you, you can type not applicable, you can put an X, but you have to have something in that field. Just feel free that if you're not comfortable providing your birth date, any student can put in either not applicable or an X or something else. And now we have a notes field that will allow you to keep notes on this student. And this is accessed by an administrator that will have the ability to change and modify any of these fields. The student cannot make any modifications here. The next available window within the My Activities is Courses. And that is basically the old gradebook where you have the course name, you have the status of the course, the date when you enroll, the date when you complete it, and this is another place where you can go in and get your certificate. Remember, you could get it from the landing page of the course, or you can get it from this My Activities course page. And you have a little icon here next to the, I'm going to enlarge that. That looks like the little icon there on the left, on the right of the page. If I click on that, it's going to come in and download the PDF of my certificate. And so if you look at my window on the lower left side, I have that PDF. So if I click on that and open it, I get my certificate. So that is the easiest way. I can save the certificate, I can print it, or do anything that I need to do with it. So let's go back to the top. And now classrooms, we don't have any classroom available right now, so I'm going to skip that. Learning plans is the same way as the courses, is a list of my learning plans and my activities on that, and the progress that I have, how many courses that learning plan has, and the total of learning plans that I have assigned to me. And then social, I'm not going to go into it, but this is the area where we're going to have in the future forums and monitor discussions regarding any topic. So that is my social link in there. That's a future release for us. Not working now. So that is, in a nutshell, everything that I wanted to show you today. These are the features that your students will have available for them. So I'm just going to go back to the course catalog, and I'm going to open the mics to any questions. I'm going to unmute all, and your mics are open. So are there any questions whatsoever about the student features for the course, for the online training program? Oops, I'm sorry, I have to, my phone, my speakers are on. Everything's to be okay. Any questions whatsoever?
Not at the moment from my end. It's pretty straightforward.
Any questions? Well, if there are no questions, I want to thank you for your time. You can contact us or email us at igainstitute@igainc.com and send us your question. You can send it directly to Jason or directly to me. I'll be more than happy to address you, and I hope to see some of you tomorrow for the administrator webinar. Remember to go to the 2015 LMS.com website so you can keep track of everything that is going on related to the transition period. And remember, the presentation will be here. It is now in a draft mode. It's been revised. But all the step-by-step instructions for everything that we have discussed here are going to be in that PowerPoint presentation. So you can print this, review it, use it for your students, and that will be a good help to answer questions. So with that said, thanks for your time and participation, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you, you too. Bye.